Let's bring in Jordan Fabian. He's a White House correspondent for The Hill, and he joins us now from the White House. So, Jordan, this extensive Washington Post report also suggests that the Trump administration is essentially sitting on a ready-made digital response to Russia's actions. So what are some of the key questions you have for the current White House about these revelations?
Well, first off, let me start with a question that this White House might have about its predecessor, which is, why didn't the Obama administration do more to punish Russia on its own if it had the intelligence that it had in the Washington Post report in hand? There was one official who said anonymously, "I think we kind of choked." And that's a line that you think President Trump would pounce on. But the problem is that President Trump has wavered on whether he thinks that Russia was actually responsible for the hacking. So that's dictated a lot of its response, including the fact that it hasn't enacted these tough sanctions that the president and tough cyber hacking countermeasures that the Obama administration prepared for it. So that's a question that will certainly come up at the briefing later today with Sean Spicer.
Jordan, meanwhile, after the president revealed yesterday that he did not record his conversations with James Comey, he's now weighing in on why he sent out that tweet about the tapes in the first place. Let's take a listen to what he told Fox News earlier and talk about it on the other side.
When he found out that that there may be tapes out there, whether it's governmental tapes or anything else, and who knows, I think his story may have changed. I mean, you'll have to take a look at that.
It was a smart way to make sure he stayed honest in those hearings.
Well, it wasn't very stupid, I can tell you that. He did admit that what I said was right. And if you look further back before he heard about that, I think maybe he wasn't admitting that.
Got a lot of people scratching their head over this. Jordan, it seems like the president is saying he sent out his tweet to impact Comey's testimony and that he feels like he succeeded. How might that admission be problematic for the White House?
Well, the tweet overall was problematic. It set off a chain of events that led to the appointment of former FBI Director Robert Mueller as special counsel, who's now leading a wide-ranging investigation into President Trump's presidency that could, derail a lot of his agenda. So this was a mistake at the time by all objective measures. And on top of that, I spoke to a couple of legal experts yesterday who said that the president, by saying that, could open the door to a possible inquiry into witness intimidation. If he was intentionally trying to badger Comey into saying certain things before the Senate Intelligence Committee, that could raise problems and further questions for Mueller's investigation. So that's something that he could be looking into in the coming weeks.
And yet, Jordan, the president is also raising new questions about the independence and credibility of special counsel Robert Mueller. In that same interview, he said Mueller's friendship with James Comey is, quote, very bothersome. Are you hearing at all that the president is considering firing Mueller? We've seen reports where those closest to the president have cautioned him, have urged him not to do something rash like he did with James Comey, but that the president ultimately is the decider in chief.
Well, Vlad, he's certainly keeping that door open in those comments that he made yesterday. The last we heard from the White House was that he has no intention to fire Robert Mueller as special counsel. That would require the sign-off from some top officials of the Justice Department. So that would be a pretty drastic move. So far, no indication that it's imminent, but he's certainly leaving the door open.
And lastly, Jordan, on the Senate health care bill, the president tweeted yesterday that he is very supportive of the plan. What do you expect his level of engagement to be between now and a possible vote next week?
It's hard to say. In fact, he didn't really give that strong of an endorsement to the Senate bill until late yesterday, and all indications from the staff that I spoke to was that they're not really clear on how much lobbying and arm twisting and phone calls he's got to be making to get this across the finish line. There's the cuts in this bill, the Medicaid that violates certain campaign pledges that he made. But on the other hand, the president really wants a health care bill. He wants a victory, a major legislative accomplishment. So I think if the going gets tough in the Senate, he might get on the phone and make some calls.
All right, Jordan Fabian of The Hill, thank you.
Thanks.